So the Google event has finally passed, and after all this crazy marketing that they've done, what did they actually launch, and what are my thoughts and reactions to it? Let's find out right after this. Hey friends, this is Brandon here with This is Tech Today, your source for honest tech reviews, the news, and my views. And if you haven't already subscribed or hit that bell icon yet, please do that. I'd really appreciate it. I've said this many times before, Google is really great at software, but hardware is one of the areas that they're not so great at, and they've been getting better and better every year. And this year, it sounds like they've really done a good job at it. You may have your own opinions about design though, but in terms of the quality, it seems like they've really fixed a lot of things. With that said, it really seems like software is a thing that stands out amongst this event, so really pay attention to that. So let's talk about the different things that they revealed. First, the Google Home Hub. This is a new smart display from Google where they're essentially combining a normal Google Home with a 7-inch touch display. This is smaller than the 8-inch varieties from Lenovo and JBL. It has an adaptive display feature called Ambient EQ that adjusts its color temperature based on its surroundings, which is a bit like True Tone for the iPhone. As a sound engineer, I'm not really sure why they went with the EQ description. When you say EQ, it sounds like it's about audio, but it's actually about the screen. I don't know, their marketing's weird. The Home Hub shows you different types of content like recipes, videos, your schedule, the weather, and includes certain events related to your smart home devices like Nest devices, and you can control all of them with Home View. This is super neat. This is like the central location for how you control your home. There's also live albums that can automatically take the best photos you just took on your phone and then display it on the Home Hub. This can be really cool, but I'm sure you can see how this could potentially go poorly. I don't know. Yeah. And the best part, and probably the most surprising, is the price. It's only $150. So if you remember what the normal cost is for the Google Home, it's $129. And yeah, it goes on sale often for $100. But for $50 more, being able to have essentially the same thing plus a screen is pretty good. Overall, it looks like the Home Hub has a much better design than the Lenovo Smart Display, and definitely the JBL. And then hopefully it has a better speaker than the Lenovo Smart Display, which doesn't really have a good one. Oddly though, the Home Hub is using a different platform than third-party smart displays. I'm not really sure how much of a difference it is practically, but we'll try to see if there's any when I compare them. The next thing that they announced is the Pixel Slate. This is the first tablet from Google themselves in a long time, but it's in Chrome OS form rather than Android. It seems like it's taking the place of an iPad Pro or a Microsoft Surface. They really emphasize how good the high-resolution molecular display is. There's dual front-facing speakers, which is great, thank you, and the great photo features from the Pixel phones are also on the Pixel Slate, so you can take some really great pictures with your tablet. But do you really want to be that person? There's fingerprint unlock, 2 USB ports, but no headphone jack. At least they give you a dongle. Prices for the Slate start at $599 and go up from there. It's $199 for the keyboard and then $99 for the pen. Altogether, it's about $1,000 for the base model. And since it's all split up into different items, this could be a good thing if you're able to find deals on it or coupons. One thing that I've heard already from sources like MKBHD and The Verge, they're having a bit of a laggy experience, so hopefully it gets worked out before it ships. And then now the big thing that we are looking forward to and knew almost everything about, the Pixel 3 and 3 XL. And since there's been so much about it leaked out beforehand and it's all over websites, let's just skip over boring specs. Let's talk about the things that stand out to me and some interesting thoughts and observations. First, the price is $899 for the base level 3 XL and $799 for the regular 3. In comparison to last year, the 2 XL was $849, so that's a $50 increase, and the 2 was $649. So the increase is $150 from last year. To go from 64 gigabytes to 128 gigabytes, it would cost another $100 for each model. And it comes with wired Pixel Buds that normally cost $30. If you want to purchase a phone, you can do it on the Google Store, there's payment plans, and there's an unlocked version that works on various carriers. In the US, if you want to purchase it in-store, it does work with Verizon. And this seems to be the first year where there hasn't been a ton of issues with ordering it on the Google Store. So either that means that they have fixed their shop, or demand isn't so good? I'll let you speculate on that. An interesting thing to note is that the display has received an A+ rating from DisplayMate, and people who have seen it in person have good things to say about it as well. The speakers are also 40% louder, and they sound fuller than before. This is a great thing to hear because the 2XL actually had some fairly muffled, mid-rangey, and crackly speakers. Apparently they're good enough to fill a room, and they've been compared to the speakers on the Razer phone. At least the first one. There's a second one. We'll find out how good that is soon. Both phones have wireless charging on them, and there's Gorilla Glass 5 on both the front and back. What was interesting is that DxO Mark was absent from the presentation, and the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, they're not even on the website. Now, it's important to know that DxO Mark and even DisplayMate, it's not really like a case closed type of thing. They have their own sort of metrics, and there is a little bit of money that's involved in the rating. And then the way that DxO Mark measures things, they value multiple cameras, and that's just not going to favor Google Pixel devices. Their tests do not really take into account all the power and software that's going into that single lens. Speaking of software, there's a lot that goes into your camera. Some examples are Top Shot, which uses something similar to what iPhones have had with live photos. They take multiple pictures and analyze them for the best photo where people are smiling and not blinking. Or there's just a good action shot. Photo Booths is a lot like Google Clips, where it looks for when you smile or do something interesting and then it'll take a picture. Group Selfie allows you to have a super wide angle front-facing camera so you can get more in your picture than normal. This is great for taking pictures with friends or when you're trying to get more of your surrounding in the shot. Of all the phones out there, this may be the vlogger's camera. Google Lens is built into the live view so you can look up address information and more just by pointing your phone at something. And then Playground is a rebranding version of AR stickers with even more Playmoji characters to use. And then there's Night Sight, which looks amazing for the Pixel 3 XL. It somehow takes information in the shot and brightens it up without it looking terrible with the power of artificial intelligence. To be fair, they compared it to the iPhone XS in a way that seemed unfair. And then there's a new Do Not Disturb option that's called Flip the Shh, where you just flip your phone over to activate it. It's another great feature within their digital well-being app. And something they didn't announce at the event is the adaptive screen color option. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I guess it has to do with color space. So whatever colors are present in the media source, the display will adjust so it can display those colors properly. In my last video, which you can check out up here, I predicted that Google Duplex would be coming to the phones. I was able to share this as an expectation because a Google engineer told me about it when I interviewed them. Starting in November, it'll roll out to limited cities and expand over time. What is currently available on launch is call screening, where you can have an assistant listen in on a call for you, transcribe it, and tap on various options the assistant provides to give responses to the caller. It has a similar feel to what we saw on Google Voice back in the day, but with a far more robust feature set and a more seamless integration and handled locally on your device. I am a big fan of this. If you want to check out that interview I had with the Google engineer, as well as hear about some of the crazy drama between the current Pixel team and the HTC design team that is taking over, you might want to check it out up here. It's nuts. And we can't forget to address the notch. While they didn't talk about it at the event, you'll be able to turn off the notch in software. This is a type of compromise that allows you to have a theoretical bezel size that's the same thickness as a Pixel 2 XL. Unfortunately, you do not gain more real estate space. The notifications move below that area that's turned off. That's quite the missed opportunity. And then there is the Pixel Stand, a $79 wireless charging stand that props it up to make your phone act a bit like a smart display. You can have unique alarms and alerts, and it integrates with your home devices just like the Google Home Hub. Since the speakers are so much better on the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, it works as a smart speaker of sorts as well. And it can also display your photos in a slideshow. What's really neat is if you have multiple stands, you can set up different settings for each and every stand. There's a unique current in each stand, so that allows the phone to recognize the different settings for each one. This is super well thought out and really cool. What's really interesting and odd about all of this is that they kind of built up this hype to the Pixel Stand as the one more thing.
We have one last thing to show you. What if your phone could provide a totally different experience when it's charging? We're excited to introduce the smartest wireless charger ever, the new Pixel Stand.
After all the different types of advertising, the bezel-less design that's in those ads, which they actually used during the event as well, the bezel-less design in setup screens, and then the teaser trailer that they launched with YouTuber clips in there saying that we knew everything, we actually did know everything. It didn't live up to the hype. And then that leads me to some observations about the event. As a whole, it didn't seem to have the magic that I felt from last year's event. It just seemed like the pacing and especially the confidence wasn't there.
Pixel phones will be the first to get this Google Assistant feature when it rolls out city by city this month. Next month. One of these months. Next month. So stay tuned for details.
There are cues missed, there was a lot of stuttering, it just wasn't very good.
Good example is I can say, hey Google, YouTube video, now hub, hey Google, show me how to carve a pumpkin.
Playing how to carve Halloween pumpkins on YouTube.
But let's also remember that they're human and public speaking is really hard. Not everyone can be as charismatic as Steve Jobs, so Let's be nice. What's funny is that throughout the event, they hid the notch as often as they could. They'd cut away from the screen when the notch comes into view. And then they never acknowledged the hype from the teaser or the different tweets that came out. To be fair, the emoji at the end could go two different ways. Either it's, ha, embarrassing, you think you know everything, but just wait, which to be fair is how most people interpreted it. Or it's like, oh, embarrassing, you do know everything that we're going to talk about. Overall, the event felt kind of awkward. There were a lot of quiet moments, there wasn't applause, and maybe that's because we knew pretty much everything that they're going to announce. Or they didn't have a bunch of Apple employees clapping for their own device, which is also a thing. So here's a question. If we didn't know about all the things that were going to be announced, would this have been exciting? It's really hard to tell, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know what you thought about the event and what they unveiled in the comments. Make sure to share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified of when I post a new video. I have a lot of videos coming up once I have the Pixel 3 and 3 XL in hand. I'm going to compare it with the iPhone XS Max and the XR, as well as the much anticipated OnePlus 6T. Thanks for watching This is Tech Today. Until next time.